All right, so now we're going to start from 第10页. So we will start from page 10. And I've just realized that because I am going to publish this on YouTube, I will talk faster. And if I speak too fast to you, you can actually go to one of the settings on YouTube and you can slow down this playback speed, right? So that it is half times. Or if you're okay with a fast talker like me, go for it, right? Or if you want to have it go even faster. Okay. On page 10, 第10页, you'll notice here on the right, so the comparative pitch of each tone is illustrated below. Again, it really helps if you do know music because here, right, ma, 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 ma. The tone marks actually look like that on purpose because they show you from left to right and down to up how you should be presenting your voice. All right. The first tone is high and level tone. It is steady and it is the highest of the four tones. It is important to maintain the pitch level from the beginning to the end of the syllable. Ma, okay, ma, it's very monotone and flat, all right? The second tone is a high rising tone. It begins around the middle of one's voice range and rises rapidly all the way up. So you make this tone as if you're raising your intonation to ask a question. Ma. The third tone is a low dipping tone. It starts quite low, then goes even lower before quickly going back up. Its duration is longer than the other tones. Start your tone at a low enough level. Ma. I will tell you that students often struggle the most with this tone, but it's okay, right? Because when we speak, actually, a lot of times the second tone and the third tones do look and sound very similar. Okay, 没关系, it's totally okay. The fourth tone starts high before a sharp and sudden drop. This tone is held for less time than any of the others. Make the drop in pitch as quickly as you can. So if you remember, right, in class, it's like the stomping, angry one. Ma. Okay. 发音练习, pronunciation practice. So we're going to look at the neutral tone now. I call the fifth tone, the neutral tone, a hiccup because it is very short. It's like a staccato, right? Like you see. It is toneless. It's pronounced softly and is short like a staccato. In transcription, the neutral tone does not carry a tone mark. If you must put something on there to help you, you can put a little dot over the letter, but you don't have to. Okay, I don't actually. So if you notice here, right, it says ge, G-E-G-E. Okay, so in that case, G-E, the second sound, would not have a tone over it. 孩子, child. 奶奶, grandmother. 爸爸, father. Okay, so these are words that we will learn about soon as well. Now I'm going to go really quickly to here. 课堂用语 classroom expressions. 这是第几声？这是第一声。对，请你再说一次。这是第几声？这是第二声。不对，这是第三声。不对，这是第四声。请你们再说一次。All right, so we will do this during class. 听声变调 okay? But now I'm going to read here 汉字 Chinese characters, the evolution of Chinese characters. Learning the Chinese language is easy as long as you understand its rules and how it has evolved over the years. Chinese characters came from pictures of objects in daily life that gradually evolved into text. A simple explanation of this process is as follows. Pictographs, 图像, oracle bone script, 甲骨文, bronze vessel script, 经文, small seal script, 小篆, clerical script, 楷书. All right, pictographs. Before the invention of text, humans drew pictures to represent objects or record things that happened. The discovery of pictographs showed the beginning of the evolution of human language from oral to written. Chinese is the only written language to still use pictographs today, right? If you've ever learned about Egyptian hieroglyphs, it's not in use today anymore, right? Oracle bone script. In the Shang dynasty, from 1600 to 1046 BC, characters were carved onto tortoise shells for divination, which means fortune telling. These characters were later seen to be the beginnings of written Chinese. In the Zhou dynasty, bronze script, vessel script, sorry, I went out of order, 146 to 256 BC, the development of bronze ware, rituals, and social hierarchy led to characters being inscribed on bronze containers and musical instruments. Bronze vessel script, metal text, 经文, is similar to oracle bone script, 甲骨文, but places more emphasis on stroke order. Bronze vessel script is also set has also set, the foundation for the later small seal script. Small seal script, 小篆. The small seal script was developed after Qin Shi Huang united China in 207 BC. It became the standard text for official documents. Because of its elegant font, the small seal script is still often used in calligraphy and on carvings. Clerical script, 楷书. Clerical script evolved from the small seal script, changing the rounder strokes to form rectilinear characters that allow for faster character formation, making it suitable to be written on various objects. Clerical script became the standard text of the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907 AD, and continues to be used as the normal written text of today. 仓颉造字. Okay. This I will skip a little bit for now, right? I'm going to now read the 50 most common traditional radicals. The radical system of Chinese writing is used for looking up meanings of words in a Chinese dictionary. Radicals are root words from which all Chinese words originate. They can be independent words or part of a character as the ideographic indicator. There are 214 radicals in total in written Chinese. Each character contains a radical, and most of the characters belonging to each radical group will carry the meaning of the radical itself. So, once you know this list of 50 common radicals, you will be able to recognize quite a few Chinese words. The radicals below are listed in the order of the number of strokes to write them. The strokes in parentheses note the way some radicals are written when acting as side components. I will tell you and be very honest that I do recognize all of these characters. However, I don't always know how to pronounce every single character. I do know how to pronounce these on the pages because these are very common, but there are 10,000 at least, right? Tens of thousands of characters in Chinese. And I don't know how to read every single one of them. But I can tell you, especially from this with the radicals, it's kind of like the root of the word when you learn about it in another language, like your prefixes and your suffixes. They really do help you understand the character, what it may mean, what it may sound like, okay? So I'm going to go through these very quickly, right? 人刀立口为土大女年山金广赤心手扑日木水火. You will notice, by the way, let me use this as an example, right? For mian, we do not use this. This is a radical, so this is not a part. This is just a part of the character. You will not see this on its own. You will see it in a combination like this, right? When it turns into a character, 家 family, house. You know you have a house when you have a roof over your head, right? So, you know, a lot of these are pretty obvious for you, right? Just like here, if you look at napkin and how it relates to handkerchief, right? 手帕, 巾, okay? Or for example here, right? 心. I really like, and I love talking about languages, right? So for example, if you look at this, 心思, the verb to think, one of the words to say to think is 思, which means you have to think with your heart, okay? So yes, of course we know that you literally think with your brain, but you know, if you want to like deeply think about things, right? And use your heart, right? Okay. 按图索骥, we will talk about this in class again, right? With these activities. This part I'm going to skip a little bit, the Chinese names, because I did talk about that in class. Over here as well, I will skip a little bit. That will be for you to work with a partner. All right. More for you to work with a partner. These parts as well, right? Now, foundation B. You will have found the 22 Chinese provinces and capitals on a map, explain cultural, geographical, and economic information about selected provinces, pronounce more finals and initials, recite a tongue twister and sing a song, use the correct Chinese expressions in certain classroom situations, explain how Chinese characters transform from traditional to simplified, identify the 50 most common simplified radicals, make the basic strokes of Chinese characters. Again, I know that it is a lot of information that I'm throwing at you because I'm trying to condense like what 5,000 years of Chinese history into very, very quick and short segments. You can find a lot of other resources on your own actually, and probably much better than I am explaining on YouTube. But for our class, right, for our class, please do go over this on your own time and make sure that you get to learn more about this culture and this language. Okay? 熊猫 panda. All right, the 22 mainland provinces. There are a lot of provinces, and I will tell you that just like I remember when you were younger, you had to remember like the US map and the world map. No? Well, you were supposed to. I will say for sure that as Americans, we are very bad with geography. I am honestly only good at geography because I love traveling and I love learning about other cultures and countries. Um, but for example, I have friends from Canada who actually have geography classes, and that's also another class in other countries. We don't really have time or learn about geography that much, and it's just a lot, right, that we have to learn. So you don't have to memorize this map, but it is very helpful, especially when I talk about news that is happening or different cultural things, different foods, right? It is very helpful to know. And those of you that have that Chinese background, whether with your parents, grandparents, relatives, or friends, it's really helpful, right? For example, before last year, you've probably never heard of Wuhan, right? But now I'm assuming you have all heard of Wuhan because that was one of the original places where the coronavirus may have originated, right? So it really does help, expand your brain, expand your knowledge when you get to learn more about other places, okay? So I'm not going to read all of these. You can read this and try to pronounce it, but I will mention these from time to time, especially some of the well-known areas, all right? So this part as well for you with the PDFs, you can read on your own. Every province is very unique, just like every state is very unique. I have not been to that many places in mainland China, so I really couldn't tell you a lot about them. I can tell you where I have been, right? So I have been to see here Terracotta Army in Xi'an. I actually went there 2 years ago, and it was really, really cool, right? So here it says it's the Geological Center, and it's a place of importance throughout history. If you love history, I really do recommend going here. And even now, right, most foreigners, which is us, right, and you, most people who are not from China will, of course, go to the typical places, right? Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong. I will tell you honestly, if you really want to learn, right? If you really want to absorb yourself into that culture and immerse yourself, you really should try to explore these other places, right? The less travel roads. There are a lot of volunteer programs and study abroad programs that are really, really good. I've actually been on a volunteer program before and I loved it. And I, of course, will strongly recommend that you go visit my homeland, Taiwan, because it is beautiful, okay? And where I am from is actually a city, so I'm a city person by nature. But there's the city, there's also the countryside, there's beaches, there's mountains, there's a lot of beautiful things there, okay? All right. Let's see. 温故知新, I am going to skip 角色, I pronounce it 角色 where I'm from. 扮演, I will skip that as well. We will do it in class. 发音, same thing. We will do these in class. These exercises, again, I'm skipping because we will do them in class. Okay. All right. Tongue twister and let's sing. Okay, I'm not going to sing because I don't know the tune to this, but I will say the tongue twister and this, I'm going to say this as a poem and we will say it together. Okay? All right. Tongue twister. 花马白马，老马有两匹马，一匹花马，一匹白马，花马花，白马白，花马白马都是老马的小马。All right, so we have a lot of tongue twisters, just like we have them in English and other languages. And it's always silly, but I'd rather we're all silly together, right? And we're all moving our mouths together and practicing this language. So just so you know, right, again, characters are definitely more important, what you see here on the left, because my pronunciation is not always exactly the same as the pronunciation here, okay? This is like the legit northerner pronunciation. All right, let's sing or let's say this poem, okay? 三轮车跑得快，上面坐个老太太，要5毛给1块，你说奇怪不奇怪？ And here you'll notice there's an X because that's just a repeat as in 太太. The second sound is a neutral sound, okay?